Hey there, it's me from Sweden. Today, I will tell you if Swedish coffee is strong or not. It's actually a question I get asked quite often when I travel abroad, and people ask if they should get the espresso or the normal one. And I'm going to answer that question and many more today, so let's just jump right into it. The first thing I want to say is that it really depends on what you call strong. Strong in terms of how much caffeine it has, or strong in terms of how it tastes. And it's also important to understand that there are different types of coffee. There's espresso, filter coffee, and then there's the ground coffee that you make at home. And I'm going to talk about all three of those today. Let's start with the espresso. Espresso is a very strong type of coffee that has a lot of pressure and a lot of caffeine. And yes, it does have a lot of caffeine. On average, an espresso has between 60 to 100 milligrams of caffeine. Stronger ones can even have up to 140 milligrams of caffeine. That's a lot of caffeine compared to, for example, a cup of filter coffee, which has about 80 to 90 milligrams of caffeine. But the espresso has that kick, that strong kick. That's why it's called espresso, right? Because it's fast acting, it's strong, and it's intense. So if you like your coffee like that, then you should definitely get the espresso. If you're someone who gets jittery easily, or you don't really like that strong feeling, then maybe you should go for the filter coffee instead. But now, let's talk about the filter coffee. Filter coffee is a little bit weaker than espresso in terms of the caffeine kick. But it still has plenty of caffeine to get your day started. And the cool thing about filter coffee is that it's a little bit more smooth, I would say. It doesn't have that intensity that espresso has. It's still very flavorful, and it's still very strong in terms of taste, but not as strong in terms of caffeine. So yeah, I would say that the filter coffee is a little bit more easygoing, but it's still very strong in terms of flavor. And when it comes to the ground coffee that you make at home, it's actually pretty much the same amount of caffeine as in filter coffee, about 80 to 90 milligrams. But again, it really depends on how you brew it. There are many different ways to brew coffee at home, and it really depends on how long you brew it and how much water you use. But generally speaking, I would say that the ground coffee is a little bit weaker than the espresso, but it's still very strong in terms of taste. It's just a different kind of strong. So yeah, I would say that Swedish coffee is definitely strong. But again, it really depends on what you're comparing it to. If you're coming from the US, for example, and you're used to that weak coffee that they serve at restaurants, then Swedish coffee is going to be a huge step up for you. But if you're coming from Italy, for example, and you're used to that strong espresso, then maybe you're not going to notice the difference that much. I hope this cleared up everything for you. But if you still have questions, please leave them down below. I'm happy to answer any question you have about Swedish coffee or anything else. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps out a lot. Consider subscribing because then I can keep making these videos. Alright, so thank you so much for watching this video, and I'm going to see you next time.